Sparks and embers fly wherever we were going. Fire and ice, we built our lives on survival. Guiding past the fault lines, we're running, your hand in mine. Freedom, the song we're humming. You can't stop a storm from coming. One look, it all comes rushing. Wolves cry and lightning strikes. Dark sky and thunder rumbling. You can't stop a storm from coming.
Welcome to episode 22 of Pineapples and Thorns. Today we're joined by Peter,
3 stars for the good guys.
Rusty,
Hey guys.
and our special guest JayJay,
Hey everyone.
RancidMeat,
Hey, Anyang.
and StormRider.
Good evening.
Hope everybody had a restful, enjoyable holiday.
Yes, it was good.
Yeah? Didn't do anything terribly exciting?
Nearly froze to death.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I think I'm still digging out from some of the snow that we got over the holidays.
You guys are just going through it this year, Rusty.
I know, it's been pretty wild. We got like 2 feet of snow, and we normally get like about 6 inches total throughout the winter. So,
Jeez.
and we got
Yeah.
2 feet in like a week and a half. So I was all over the place, and we never have snow that sticks around for more than like a day or two. So it's pretty wild.
I was kind of expecting to hear that you'd had some sort of a tsunami after that volcanic explosion out near Tonga.
There was a tsunami warning,
Yeah.
but they canceled it. So yeah, we
Thank
literally were expecting one.
Wouldn't surprise me this year.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Peter, might as well just jump into the CFF news if you want.
Right, just about a week ago now, CFF was joined by the C2J guys, and we battled Evolve Your Game, and we managed to win that family skirmish, 84-81. It was closely contested, but we managed to squeeze out the win there, so that was fun. I'm over in Kent Farmhouse right now. We are still trying for the 500th win. We've had 2 shots at the 2 kicks at the can, I guess. So number 3 is going to be the charm. But there's some other clans coming up with their milestone wars. I think Dark Sector's going for 400 soon. And of course, RedThorn's going for 500. We think maybe within a week or so, Kat, we'll put the announcement out. So little sneak peek
pretty
here.
soon.
Yeah. I think that's just about all I have.
Yeah, and should we talk about Unbreakable?
Oh, yes. Kat, how are you doing on Unbreakable?
I finished, I guess so, gosh, about a week ago. Finally got that 5,000 defense and pretty happy.
Wow.
Rusty?
Have you been able to get on the game enough to get any Unbreakables, or are you busy shoveling snow too much?
I haven't been able to devote the time to constantly dropping all the cups again. So I'm still sitting short. Just family life got tied me up too much with over the holidays there. I fell off. I think at one point me and Kat, we'd gotten back into like 20 some cups
Mm-hmm.
away, and then
Very
now
close.
she's just very much.
And then I left you in the dust.
Yeah.
And Peter, did you want to talk a little bit about the CWL recap for RedThorn?
Sure. It's a bit of a sad tale. Of course, we did the split squad. Some of the guys went over to TGF Rising, and we were in Masters 1 there, and we were not able to advance. We actually lost by a star. So that was a little disappointing, but I think we now are on the right page. We had a really slow start to the week, so I think we know what we need to do next month. And RedThorn was in Champs 3, and just got bumped down to Masters 1 again. But I think lots of medals were given out, so next month will be different. I don't know if we're going to challenge each other. I think we're just going to stick with the same kind of squads and see if we can't promote TGF into Champs and let RedThorn ride around in Masters 1. It was a good week.
Yeah, sounds perfect. Okay, guys, let's talk a little bit about your Clash history. JJ and Ran and Stormy. I want to talk a little bit about where you've played, what town halls you currently play, and also sound on or off. We'll start with JJ.
All right. Currently, I have 3 Town Hall 14s that I'm playing with, mainly. I have my 2 JJ accounts and my Town Hall 8 for Life account. I do have 2 9s and a 12, and I lost count. Stormy probably knows more. I probably got about 6 other accounts floating around that I don't really do much with right now. I guess I started playing Clash the year of the Super Bowl ad. Like, I think it was the first year of Clash. I got into it probably 6 months after it released. Played around a bunch of different clans at the beginning and just kind of found my way. I was listening to the original OG podcast and was listening to the L versus Zod war, and that kind of and me and a couple of coworkers were playing the game, and I introduced him to a couple of them to the podcast, and then so a bunch of us joined House of Zod and played there for a little while before we broke off and did Lexcorp. And then after Lexcorp was basically Dark Contingent, I did float around a little bit, Hollow Graves with Cat for a while. That's about it, I guess, for me. In Dark Contingent now, very, very casually playing. I hope you don't ask me too many of my attack strategies. Pretty novice still. I pretty much queen walk with hogs and miners, and that's about 95% of my attacks. Some dragons, I guess, too, but yeah,
I think those are coming back, JJ. I think you're right on the meta.
That's good. That's good. Honestly, I haven't been paying too much attention to it, so it's a learning experience. There's we every once in a while we draw some really hard clans, and I watch their attacks and just try to. Oh, that's a pretty good attack. I could do that. It's spammy enough for me, and yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I can do that 5-layer wall break. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Ran, how about you? You want to give us an update?
Well, I'm still retired, so I don't really have much. I was last I played was at 13. That's the blue one, and Town Hall 11, RancidMeat and Deadbolt Frog, and I started about the same time as JJ, like in October of 2012, when it just months after it had come out, but didn't really play much, and got into a clan with Hal, and he went on some walkabouts and went and found Kent Farmhouse, sort of one of the offshoots of the whole Fans in the Stands universe that came out of Scotty and Boneyard's podcast and such. And just listening from Scotty and Boneyard, kind of listening to that, it was just sounded like too fun of a community to not be part of. And Hal got me into there, and from there we had, I guess the CFF kind of grew, and from the podcast and the 4 of us recording, and the last I knew I was leader at K2. I'm not really sure. I might be the only one left there. I kind of know that the clan kind of split up and went different ways when it just kind of got a little slow, and there wasn't enough activity to keep clan wars going and stuff like that. But last I heard from Gwen, she was over in where'd she go? Now it's just slipping my mind.
Oh, me too.
Chuck's clan.
Phantasm?
Thank you so much. Jeez, the memories. They're just there, and sometimes they're not when you get old. So I guess that's where I am.
Okay. Stormy?
Yeah, I think I started playing the game. It was coworkers, and they definitely let me out of the. They didn't let me in the loop. Had some competitive guys, and I think it was like 3 months later they told me. I have to look at my Christmas trees, but it's probably around the same time as JJ and Ram. Seems like 7 years or something. Looking at the trees, but joined before whatever town hall was max, something crazy like 10. I don't know, 8. When I joined, there wasn't wars yet. But yeah, I had a good time. It felt like like a chess game or something like that. And you get tired of what you're doing. And then I found what was it? One Hive, Jay. Hogs were around, so I guess it was 8. And try to tell everybody, this is the way, and everybody's like, no, go to these dragons and archers. So I went the hog route, and then eventually you move on. And the same thing with Ran and JJ. It was the original podcast, Scotty and Boneyard. I remember Jay. I think Jay, you were in Zod first. I think I got the L first. I tried to get the Zod because of the comic book, really, but L took me first. But I got there right after the Great War, like you were saying, the Great War. And I guess we could delve into that later, but this is before matchmaking. This is before anything. And they were trying to figure out weights. When I showed up in clan chat, it was literally the day or two after the Great Search between those two iconic clans, House of L and House of Zod. But yeah, it was the podcast, right? It was trying to figure out just a game I enjoyed, and I was shocked to see there's a podcast there. I'm just nerdy enough that I actually searched for it. There it was, and there it was. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the history of, because Clash is a small world, and many people in clans are really intertwined. People start in one clan, they move on to others as they grow. And so we want to bring a little bit of that history to our listeners. Dark Contingent, House of L, House of Zod, Lexcorp, how they tie into the Buy Forever family and the Clash Files family. It's amazing how much things are, related and intertwined, like I said. So let's talk a little bit about how some of these clans were founded, the OG members. JJ, do you want to talk about Dark Contingent first? You want to give us a brief history?
Sure. I guess I don't know what year it was, but Dark Contingent is on. I can tell you here. We've had about 606 wars. We are definitely not going for our 500th win. 385. So we're all right, I guess. But
closing in on 400 though. That's cool.
Yep, we're getting there. So I would say there's probably about Lexcorp probably had about 50 people at the time, and I would say 40 of us split off from the clan and went to Dark Contingent. Stormy and me, there's a whole cast of everyone else that went. There was kind of the great fallout. We did a arranged war with One Hive, and there was a lot of drama with our leader at the time, and he rage quit during the war and put his mini in charge and whatever.
Oh, no.
And so that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of us. We were very embarrassed at that. Like, I don't even think he did his war attacks, and so all of us just left and started something new. And people have moved on since then. I mean, Dark Contingent hasn't been, we probably had about a year of inactivity, I would say, but in the last probably 3 years, we've been pretty active, continually warring. We do CWL, we're spinning 20-man wars right now is kind of where we're at. We've got a lot of active guys, but there's, as far as active war guys, we're probably down to about that 20 people, and I would say I'm probably I'm at least 3 of them, sometimes 5. So, that's about it right now. I guess we're in Master 2 for CWL. I mean, we're not setting the world on fire, but we'll win one, and then we'll have a couple bad ones, and then we'll win another one, and just kind of hopping around and doing the best we can. Not taking stuff seriously. We boot people that are repetitive non-attackers, but if you don't attack in a war, I mean, I might give them a stern talking to in clan chat and give them a second chance. Even, I mean, that's a lot different than the old days where we would boot them. During that war, even when
I was gonna say, JJ, we used to be a lot more stern.
Yeah, it's not the most active. I mean, we've got our clan chat goes back a few days, probably 2-3 days, and we I don't know. I don't go on Discord too much. I don't do too much Clash chatting necessarily. No planning. I just YOLO my hits, and it's usually the same comp over and over and over. So, but Dark Contingent's still operating. A lot of the same people and faces are still around. And we got Mailman Matt, who's been around forever, and all the CFF clans, and Tough, and Shadow Puppet. And there's a whole gamut of people. Annie's still playing.
That's good.
She's pretty casual too. I have to say, hey, we spun a war. It's your turn to do some tax, and maybe even do her attacks for her on her iPad every now and then too when she's busy with work. So, but yeah,
That's awesome. So let's go back a little bit further and let's talk about House of L, House of Zod. You want to talk about those clans a bit, you guys?
sure. For me, I was probably only in L and Zod for probably, just a few days, honestly, before Illness and Rigoletto split and made Lexcorp. I probably joined Lexcorp, I would say, the third war in, I guess, after being recruited by those guys and having them bugging me. I didn't go initially. I wasn't one of the first ones, but my history was brief over there. I think these guys were in there quite a bit longer. So,
But I don't know, Jay. It's like I remember being in. I remember you and Zod. There were some crossovers back in the day between Zod and L, especially after if we can all agree on the term the Great War. There's a lot of different characters bouncing back and forth. And I was happy to be in L, just because of the podcast. I was around royalty, so to speak. It was really fun. I think the max there was it 8? Does anybody remember?
the town hall level.
Yeah,
I
remember
8 or 9. Yeah,
it was 8 or 9, but I remember doing a lot of dragon attacks. But I remember Scotty was there, right? There's a lot of interaction with him. There was certainly we were using what was the chat we're using? Was it Line? I think it was Line.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Was it Line?
No, it was something else before Line.
It was super linear. I remember that because I remember we'll go into this one cat and Peter asked about BFE and Rig. I guess we ought to get there, but I just remember he was able to post pictures and we would definitely interact, outside of clan chat.
It was GroupMe.
that's what it was. Yep.
Was it? Yeah.
GroupMe.
All right.
I had to look through all my icons that still stuff that still needs to be downloaded because
I'll probably jump a whole thing here because something with JayJay. I was on the night. I'm not sure how to introduce this to the whole thing, but House of L, House of Zod. I'll say some precursors for some of the clans that people like Kent's Green, Kent's, and Phantom Zone. I remember when they were created. Kent's farmhouse is literally people, that wanted to farm and not war. In the Phantom Zone, you would literally get banned to the Phantom Zone if you weren't warring. Like now, or JayJay was saying about being kind. There was an era where if you didn't make your hits, you just get kicked, and they'd say go to the Phantom Zone. It was kind of a joke, but that was literally what was happening. If you weren't making your hits, you just kicked out and say go to the Phantom Zone, just like the comic. That's all it was there for. That eventually became something else. So obviously, not obviously, but for me later, I looked at it, I'm like, wait a minute, I remember Phantom Zone. Whoa, they're warring class that. Like that was for the stuff that didn't hit.
Yep. Oh yeah, I remember the first time. When Kent Farmhouse started becoming a real good war clan.
They're their own thing, right?
Yeah, and I remember just being like, I thought that's where everyone just went to farm. I honestly thought that's what it was. Yeah.
Well, honestly, if you knew some of the characters that were around Ken Farmhouse at the time, we kicked ass in every category. We were doing so good in war. Plus, we had some of the highest farming numbers coming out of any other clan within all the family itself that existed around Scotty and Boneyard. Gearbanger, he outdid me, and I had some pretty impressive numbers, if I do say so myself. But he, like I say, everybody in Kent Farmhouse was just incredible farmers. Other than Cooper, or, Randy, and Natalia, neither one of them would farm with crap.
I love the name drop too because I definitely remember Cooper, not. There's another Cooper, but I remember Cooper for sure.
Well, he was RC Cooper Katie.
Yeah.
That
It was
was
like
Cooper,
his
man.
the full
daughter's name, right? Wasn't it the last?
Well, he was Randy. His last name was started with C.
I think it's been long enough, yeah. But I remember R.C. Cooper for sure. It's a good dude
Yeah.
too. Yeah, good clan mate. But yeah, like I said, you guys farmed like crazy, but that was the place to do it. You
Yep.
know? House of Zod. My memories were like there was a lot of interaction. It was GroupMe. I thought it was Line, but it was GroupMe, and that's where I met or started interacting with Illness and JayJay. I can't remember like JayJay, but JayJay and I have been friends for so long. I can't remember exactly the moment where I'm like, I like this guy, which is hard to do over a game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember interactions with Illness, and we would post a base, and someone would say, "Hey, attack it like this." And back then it was dragons, right? And you just like basically just drop these rages over a base, and this is what we do.
Yep.
But I enjoyed those evenings, like interacting with the people from the podcast, and then the people in the clan. You're like, oh, this is super fun. I'm learning a little bit.
I have to ask a question. You guys talk about the Great War. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's kind of important, I think, because I'm going to say my part of it first, because I was listening to the podcast, and they were trying to arrange a war between House of El and House of Zod. And this is before matchmaking. This is before Twitter. They were trying to figure out how they could match each. And that was the whole, the idea of the podcast at that time was like they were talking it up over about two or 3 weeks, how they could figure out how to weight each other. I don't think they even used the term weight. They just knew the town halls would work, you know? JayJay, you got something on that?
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily knew weights. I guess I think they were all, just kind of getting comparable town hall levels, and they were hitting spin at the same time. And yeah, the night they matched, it was just incredible. And yeah, it was one of those things that was
That's really what it was.
I guess that's why I call it the Great War, because like you couldn't plan it. Even the podcast, they were just beside themselves that they matched.
Oh yeah, it was just the enthusiasm, the excitement was just unreal, and I think that was the first matched war of any Clash of Clans war. I mean, that was on purpose,
To my knowledge, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, to mine too. Yeah, I don't think there was
The first time any two clans ever tried to match one another. It's DC Comics, House of El, House of Zod. But here's the gig. I don't know how they did it, except that they're just there and they spun at the same time.
There was a lot of actual comparison because it wasn't a full war. It was down to, I can't remember how many people were in it. 30? What were the numbers way back then in wars?
I think it was 30.
So they again, a lot of people were excluded just because they weren't quite evenly matched up with upgrades and all that stuff. Because there was a lot of planning as well back then, as far as right around that war, to not upgrade stuff to keep yourself the same. That was the only thing that everybody had to go on, is just, okay, equal town hall and equal kind of stuff upgraded.
Ran, are you saying like the in-game chat? Remember, this is before Discord. This was chat in-game. They were talking about this.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. In-game and through in GroupMe, because that's
right. Don't upgrade anything because we're trying to make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
And and that was at a point where, I mean, Supercell was dropping new updates like every 2 weeks. Something new would come into the game, or a new troop, or a new level, or a new base, or whatever new.
I was literally in there like 2 days later, and they were there was a lot of banter. I think it's the kind word to say it.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of banter. Some stuff going on. Where,
I don't even remember who won it. I don't even remember the who won. Was it L or Zod?
It was L.
It was L.
Okay.
It was L. And L won it, and I think back in the old days of spies, I think everybody who's played the game for a minute, obviously you could drop somebody else in your clan and look at the bases, but there was definitely a spy. I think if Scotty Scotty admitted to it at some point, but that was part of the friendly. At that point, it was very friendly, very friendly.
The rivalry between them was unbelievable because you could even in the early podcasts you could hear all this stuff leading up to this clan against clan competition. I mean, there were so many little in clan competitions: House of L versus House of Zod, Boneyard versus Scotty. I mean, there was the one competition where it was what clan could gain the most trophies overall on an average of participants. So Scotty put everybody in his clan in, and everybody that wanted to participate. So he had a whole pile of people, and they had, let's say 2,300 cup gain average per participant. Well, Boneyard, his plan was to just Johnny Big Leg it, as he put it. And if anybody remembers that podcast, Johnny Big Leg, he basically egg lay. It was the only competition. And the guy gained like 4,000 cups and just, you can't compete again. Wasn't
I
anything in the
remember
rules that said you couldn't Johnny
that.
Big Leg, but
yeah, man.
Reference of the one kid that you only have one kid on your kickball team, and it's Johnny Big Leg. They just keep kicking it apart around the diamond.
I remember that, buddy. That's a good one.
See, that's Boneyard especially was what just drew me to it all. And for me, just being in Canada Farmhouse, I was glad enough to be just part of the fans in the stands family.
Same here.
It was kind of a dream, like, could I go and be in the House of L or be in the House of Zod? I don't know if I'm the right personality to begin with or I'm the right player, but
no, I'm the same way, Rand. I was just happy to be in that clan. I'm listening to the podcast and I'm in the clan where they're actually talking about what's happening, and that was super fun. I remember sending a birthday gift to Scotty, and I was so hurt. I'm not hurt anymore because I'm a jaded SOB. But I sent him a birthday present. Actually, a guy I work with still. Been working with this guy for 12 years, almost 10 years, and we sent him it was a General Zod action figure.
Oh my
We sent it. There's something that happened in the podcast, and I remember sending him a present, and he shouted out some presents, and he said snowboarder. Well, I'm StormRider, and he said, "Hey, thanks, snowboarder." I'm like, "Son of a bitch, Scotty,
Son of a gun.
Oh, son of a gun, yeah." That's Peter.
So, do you guys have any favorite memories? Like anything that weird happened there? Worst memories? Memorable players?
Didn't the group me chat get nuked?
Yeah,
Was that Rigoletto and Illness that nuked it or something? I can't remember.
No, I was on that. I was on at the moment when. Here's a name that we got to throw out. I think, and you'll remember now, JayJay. Now you'd never forgotten Taco.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Purple Rain, bro. And that's a clan that you guys can look up, but it's dead. But Taco shut down that chat.
Oh,
Taco was the admin. I'm pretty sure you got the screenshots, bro.
I probably
Taco was. I know you do. You got all the screenshots. Taco, I love you, brother. Taco, I was on chat that moment because we were all moving to Lexcorp when you said, I think you got there like War 4. I think I got there where like War 8. Because I was holding back because I was like, everybody so much in House of L, House of Zod. I'm not sure where I'm leaving. Dude, I was thinking of, I'll throw out some account names. It's not real names. Like Rico. Remember Rico?
Yep.
Yeah. There's some names like, yeah, don't go over there. He's full of this, full of that. I'm like, no, I'm just going to keep warning, man. It's cool. And we can talk about Illness. I mean, it's fine. That guy's not playing. It's not his personal name, but I definitely remember the night. No, it wasn't a night. It was an afternoon when Taco was shutting down that. I think you guys are right. It might have been Group Me. I was on trying to type out a nice long goodbye, like I would, like, hey, thanks guys for all the memories, and all of a sudden the chat is being deleted. That was Taco. Taco shut it down.
Okay.
Yeah, I just remember after that we went to Line, and then we got into Discord.
Yeah, I was on there the moment when Taco was shutting it down, and there was no goodbyes then. Just wasn't. You shut the whole thing down.
Did you guys have like a favorite person that you played with? Put you on the spot.
There's been a ton for the years, man.
Yeah, I can't even name. I mean, honestly, it was just such a good group. Though all those, every person, we would be in like Lexcorp, and random people. I mean, like Rand would come over and war there, or whoever. Everyone would just come over there and war, and we would just hop around to different clans. And I don't know. There was so many good people back in those days. I liked everybody there. I mean, there was. My wife downloaded the game because I would sit there. And every evening I'm on my phone with it sideways playing Clash of Clans, and I'm giggling like a schoolgirl at the game chat, and she's like, what's so funny? And I would share the story of whatever happened in game that day, and she would laugh, finally to the point where she downloaded the game and started playing, and still's playing because it was fun, and there was just so many good people. It was. I can't name one for sure. Not
the favorite people. How about JayJay? How about infamous people that have been gone for years that we can only mention account names. So it's not a big deal. All right, JayJay, I'm gonna drop one on you from way back in the day from House of Zod. I'm sure this account is long gone, and hopefully it's no one that listens or has played with us recently. Do you remember this name, Sister Pringle, and how it used to?
Yeah, so
you immediately started. Go ahead, brother.
So he's actually in a clan with Scotty 827 still to this day. Yeah, so like if you go to your social and go to Scotty 827, he's in the mail or the post office. Post office clan, and Sister Pringle's in there.
With Mailman?
No, Mailman's with us, but yeah, okay. I don't know. Sister Pringle's there. I seen that name, Phantom Warlord.
Well, yeah,
Scotty.
I know Phantom for sure, and I know who it is for sure. But yeah, Sister Pringle's the one back for the podcast listeners. This was the most heinous, abrasive thing back in the day. If you were a Town Hall 7, do you remember this? JayJay maybe ran to. There was this big argument about rages versus heals with dragons.
Oh, wow.
Dude, I heard a little giggle from somebody. But seriously, Kat, there was an absolute argument about should we use rages or heals? And I know most people would say, well, you got to use rages, Town Hall 7. But there was one account that would only use heals on that. It was quite successful. So there was a fun argument that came out of that. I know JayJay remembers, but Sister Pringle was one of those accounts. It's kind of fun you remember that.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, I was like just going through, like it was probably the other day. I was just going through some social stuff and seeing who I had as friends still, and seeing if they were playing. Kind of just honestly, if I'm being honest, I was going to recruit a few people and send some invites if I seen a badge next to them. So I was just doing that, but yeah, I seen Scotty. I'm like, oh, I wonder where he's at and who's in his clan. And yeah,
there was I won't say on the podcast, but there you remember Sir H?
Oh, you can say it.
I guess I can. It's just I don't want to put Kat or the podcast. It's not like it happens, but yeah, very abrasive guy, but super fun.
Sir Herps was incredible.
Sir Herps.
I remember him.
Yep, Sir Herps was
that Peter? Peter just cackled or ran? I'm not sure, but no, he was
back in those days. There were some really trolly trolls. There really was, everywhere.
You should go down that. You should go down that road, Rand.
Like you were speaking of, like the Great War and the Spies. That was Shadow. What was his name? What was the account that he mostly went by? That guy had like about 20 different accounts. He was in everywhere. He was like.
I can think of a government. I can think of a government name. I think it started with an M, like a real name. But yeah, he had probably a 6. That was the cat that was a spy in L.
Oh yeah. He was a spy all over the place. He wasn't just in he wasn't just spying in that war. He had accounts all over the place. He would slip into clans and troll them. He was really good at it. I'm just trying to think of some of the other shenanigans that got pulled off by a lot of the different people.
And I guess
but
for a podcast sake, I mean, it wasn't accepted. We always hated cheaters, but if you could get away with it at some point, you'd be like, well, I guess.
okay,
you know.
so again, we get down and get back into one of those big gray areas of the debate between different people of different morale levels. But there was cheating, which was using the mod software, and all of that that was going on all of that time and didn't stop until what, about 2016, 2017.
Agreed, Rand.
But spying and getting into other clans, that's perfectly legit if you leave your door open.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. Spying was
That was
the highlight. I love spying. We had so many, until what was the Clash of Stats came out, where you could actually see where they've been. Some of those, then all mine kind of got busted. So yeah,
that kind of fun stuff. It's I mean, like I say, if you leave yourself vulnerable to attack, you're going to be attacked.
Well, yeah, back in the day, it is what it is, man.
I mean, back in the day, we used to steal clans. We used to send a bunch of monster big accounts over, or a couple of them, and say, "Hey, if you."
I think that point, Jay, that we wanted to talk about, because the loss of global, it's saddening, man.
Oh, it destroyed the game for me. Honestly, that's kind of why because that was what I would do. I would stay up all night. We would try to get a Norse global, and we would try to match up and find all our friends from our other clans. And I have screenshots of just all of us finding each other in Norse global and having 10 people in multiple clans. Just we were all on voice, and we'd sit there and go in global and just hang out. I mean, we all did it. Yeah.
Yep. That was a lot of fun back then.
Yeah, we had games in K2 for global. Between me and Adam Bear and Super Mario Lopez.
Super Mario.
Super Mario Lopez. I still talk to him, so
good.
He's
Shout
one
out
of the people that I'm just so glad that I met through the game, because he's been a friend for a lot longer than I played. And
nice, bro.
Same with Pseudo back in the days of Lexcorp.
Yep.
All the Mississippi boys, like Phantom Free State, still talk to him. He was one of the OG Lexcorp guys.
Gosh. I remember that account, dude. Phantom Free State.
Yeah. You want to remember another troll name is Joker from Lexcorp. He was another he was just on the same level of Mr. Herps that just
Okay, so we can't touch on Herps so much. That sounded really funny, but I want to throw this out. I want to throw this out for Lexcorp, and this is something that Rand and I talked about before individually. Level 33.1, man.
Yes, I was trying to remember that just a little bit ago.
That was a big deal for us in Lexcorp. We had an experimental clan, and this is the when people would play around defenseless accounts, right, with weights. That was a big deal. And was it 33?
Yeah, level 33.1.
Yeah, 33.1, the secret level of Lexcorp player.
And yeah, for the listeners, that's what it was as far as comic book. That was a secret level of a floor in the Lexcorp building. And so it was kind of cool. I don't remember who did it, but that was the clan where we would put defenseless accounts in there and try and war. And I tell you what, man, we had a good time. I don't remember how many wins we got to, but we got to quite a few wins. It was a good time.
364. They got 364 wins.
Was it, bro?
And they've been pretty dead for a while. So yeah,
Cat, that's where Hamburger came from. That was
that's a great account.
That was my defenseless for 33.1 from Lexcorp, but we had a good time. It was all fun until somebody. I don't think it was either YouTube, but somebody stick wall and just wrecked the whole thing. I'm like,
well, I ran an engineered account for a long time. I had my Town Hall 8 for life, which just became Town Hall 14, a few months ago, and finally got defenses up to the Town Hall 13, 14 range. But yeah, that was I had a couple accounts in 33.1 right at the beginning, and yeah, it was fun.
That was a lot of fun. That account, that clan was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Bullfrogs was up until Town Hall. Oh, I want to say geez, must have been 13. When 13 came out, I decided to make him a town hall or upgrade him, and it was a town hall 10 at the time that was defenseless, except for the walls because it was just a drawing of a dead bullfrog, all laid out flat and squished.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I remember having that
So
base
there's,
kit for the longest time. Sorry, Kat.
oh, it's okay. I was going to say there's a lot of, probably big names that have come out of those clans, and they went on to form various other clans. I thought it might be nice to touch base a little bit about Rigoletto. He's was very well known in the Clash community for a long time. His podcast was one of the very early successful shows on Clash of Clans. You want to talk a little bit about him and his history with House of House of Zod, and how he left?
If nobody minds, I go first because I really remember being in House of. It was Lexcorp. Rig and I were in House of Zod together, and I remember being Lexcorp with him for sure, absolutely for sure, for tons of wars. Like that's a whole other story, but I guarantee you I was there in Lexcorp up until about War 100, and Rig was there for a long time. If JayJay was there around 4, I promise you I was probably there around War 8.
Yeah,
we just kept it rolling. Yeah, we just kept it rolling. Just kept winning, figuring stuff out, and having a good time with drags or go wee. Illness. Yeah. We got to talk about illness. Yeah. Go white. We're having a good time. But I remember Rig was there, and the one I'd love to tell everyone from a podcast standpoint is Rig loved the game so much that even in House of Zod, he would, when I say sketch out his attacks, he would take a picture of a picture he drew. You remember that, JayJay?
Yeah.
He would take a picture. He would take a picture. He would draw out a picture of a base, like by hand, and take a picture and send it to you. And say, "Hey, what do you think?" He had deep love of the game way back in the day, before anyone ever thought about sketching out attacks. And that was Rig. Mm-hmm. And I remember when Rig started his podcast on SoundCloud, right out of pretty much Lexcorp, I think, because I was on that night. JayJay, I think you were on the next morning, and I remember him saying, "We always had a joke. Goodbye forever is a joke, guys. BFE people, I love you so much. You're carrying on such an amazing tradition. But bye forever was something that started a little bit before BFE. To be fair, and bye forever was another thing. I don't know if we should touch on it this evening, but bye forever was
why not?
we can, brother, we can. But it wasn't always a friendly thing, but it became an inside joke, and literally people in that clan would say bye forever, and it was a joke. But Rig was a very fun person. Enjoyed. I want you guys to tell your story about him, but I just remember that about Rig. He's so devoted to the game. He would take a picture of his sketch, put it right there. You could look at it, and maybe two of us would look at it and say, "Hey, man, I don't know. This is before everybody got too deep into it, so to speak." But it's kind of BFE for me, man. Rig is BFE to me.
Can I give you just a little bit of insight that I don't know how many people might remember, but all of this, the fans in the stands, House of Zod, House of L, Lexcorp, all of that is the DC universe. Rigoletto was a Marvel guy. He really was. He was a big Spider-Man fan, or he's a Spider-Man fan. And Bye Forever actually comes from the Spider-Man universe. I can't remember where. If somebody can ever let me know where that does truly come from, but I remember the story of how that came about, and it was because of the split between Taco and Illness and Rig. The split all came. He was on their show, and then they were giving him some space to use or to post to kind of like co-host his podcast while he got sort of the wheels running between going on SoundCloud, because back in those days, SoundCloud could only hold a few episodes, so the library would quickly disappear. the early stuff, which that meant a big deal. As a new listener, you could go back maybe 3, 4, 5 shows and start listening for the history. But Bye Forever would be that when there was kind of the separation between those two entities, let's call it, because there was BFE show and then there was the Clash Cast, and he was leaving Illness and Taco, Illness Clan, basically, because that's where he hung out until the end. He threatened to go, and then it was always just Bye Forever. And so I'm saying Bye Forever, but that's sort of where, sorry to go on a little bit of a weird tangent, but that's kind of where a little bit of that came from.
No, you're right, Ran. I kind of remember that. I didn't realize it was a Marvel DC thing, but I remember the night. I remember like Bye Forever. It became a joke. It was the whole. I'm not going to call those account names out, but it became a joke, right? JayJay knows that. It was every evening. Bye Forever. Bye Forever.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
It wasn't Bye Forever, and then finally it really was Bye Forever when Riggs said, "Hey." I was on the evening that in clan chat, he said, he goes, "I don't belong here. I'm going to start my own thing." It was like 11 o'clock at night. It was poof. That was it. And we were already following Rig on SoundCloud. And respectfully, his first couple podcasts, this sounded bad. He didn't have the mics, but he wanted to do it. And that was the cool thing about it. Like, he pursued it. And I remember us enjoying him talking about what was going on. We could even say infighting, with Lexcorp. He'd bring up account names and talk about it. That was kind of fun. It was train of thought. Very curious. I didn't think of it as a podcast. It was more like, this is my clanmate talking about what's going on. I'm like, what? You're putting this stuff out there. It was kind of cool. It was kind of fun,
One of the things that I found with Rig when he was doing the podcast was that he quickly evolved into a little different than what Scotty and Boneyard were doing or what Taco and Illness were doing. Is I want to say maybe by about episode 5 or 6, he was getting more into sort of the culture of the game itself and talking to a lot more high level players that were actually in bigger warring clans and using more strategy and things like that. And that, I think, is what evolved into, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The One Hive podcast that came out. It wasn't Jake from One Hive on the videos. It was somebody else from within their clan family that had done a podcast. He was kind of the next one that was talking at that level. And that took almost 2 years to kind of catch up on that way.
Ran, I remember like weighing heavy on the Reddit troopers and everyone being very attentive to what was going on as far as modding.
Mm-hmm.
And Rig was pretty outspoken on that.
Yeah, about the one where he did the I think it was it the War Whales like memorial service that he put on or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, but even before that, it was his old argument with Boaz.
Yeah.
The guy that openly admitted to modding.
That's a fun one. That's a fun one. I don't know if I have the time, but that was fun to bring up, especially with the old school podcasts. Boaz completely kept saying it, like, well, we can say it now. I guess it's been years past. The True Sons, right?
Yep.
This was an infamous name for casts that played back in the day. These guys are serious hitters as far as like Reddit troopers and all that.
Well, Boaz was like the special co-host on a lot of Scotty and Boneyard stuff for a long time, and they kind of brought him in, for technical advice almost. It seemed like, he was a better attacker than both of those guys were. And it's true. They were good attackers, but Boaz just was unreal. And yeah, when it finally came out that he was modding and everything, I think the Clashcast did a podcast about Boaz and the True Sons, and then I remember very clearly that Illness did. In fact, I probably even have a screenshot of it. Actually, You know, him saying that after he did that podcast about Boaz, you know, people were attacking him on his personal life. He got fired from work. People were calling and harassing him. It was
Oh wow.
it was all after, and he said that's been my life since the Boaz episode. You know, it's just, you know, it's been pretty bad. It was pretty hard for him for a while about after he did that one.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. As much as I would laugh about someone that said they weren't modding and suddenly you find out you are, or someone on the podcast was, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Oh no, yeah, and I don't know necessarily if it was true, if that really did happen or not. But I mean, he said it did. And that's he was.
That really sucks, man. I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's a game. At the end of it, whether you're cheating or not, it's a game.
Because we went pretty hard at Boaz and the True Sons. We wanted to war them. We, you know, at Lexcorp, they would have killed us. They would have killed us.
Oh, dude, they
It
would
would have
have
been embarrassing. It would have been embarrassing. But
I remember we were going after him. Like, just match us. Let's do it.
I was on Twitter just being a shithead and just, you know, trying to get Boaz to war us, you know, and sending him, you know, our war weights at the time. You know, we're 78 weights or whatever it was back then, you know, and yeah. I'm thankful that he didn't take us up on it.
So let's talk about some fun stuff right now. I know there's a lot of good friends in DC, you know, over to RedThorn, and we warred with them in Holograys and stuff. One of our dear friends is Tough.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about him a little bit.
Absolutely.
I know one of the fun things that he's done for his friends in the past is sent them a Tough Tuck.
Well, I will PG this for Stormy here. A tough tuck. A tough tuck is where a gentleman puts his manly bits between his legs and sends a picture to make himself look like a different sex. And yeah, it's a tough tuck.
I mean, it was obviously the same sex, but I appreciate you trying to protect me from things like that.
A tough tuck is a rite of passage. I don't think that you're truly, you know, it's you weren't welcome to the clan until you got a tough tuck picture.
And like a sign in some circles, people won't understand this, but it was a sign of friendship.
Yep.
Truly, the first night that I experienced the tough tuck, I shouldn't name the account, but I was in DC when I found JayJay again. And that's another story. I took a trip, took a break from Clash, found JayJay again, ended up in Dark Contingent, and that's how I found Cat, Holograys. But I remember it was a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and we were trying to war plan. It was getting late, dude. It was getting late. It was like 11 o'clock at night. And this other account bounced in on the Discord and said, "Hey, you guys should be planning your hits." And Tough said, "Hey, it's Tuesday night. I've been working. I'll do what I want." And he sent a tough tuck to pretty much everybody on Discord and all leadership. And I respect that man for that. He has no respect for leadership. I really enjoy that guy for that.
I do love that.
And one of my highlights about Clash of Clans, honestly, is probably the time that Stormy and Tough and a whole bunch of other, you know, people, we all met up in Chicago and, you know, got to meet each other face to face. We did a war. It was quite the experience there. It was fun seeing, you know, putting a face to a name, and, you know, and
yeah, bro, face to a name. Most certainly when I saw a few of my friends to meet them in person, which I encourage everybody in Clash, if you've had the ability to meet someone that you played the game with for a few years. But when I saw Tough, I'm like, that's Tough.
Yeah, I knew that too. I did.
Yeah, and when I saw you, I knew it was you, and that was kind of fun. When I think back,
it's a great memory.
Yeah, it's absolutely great memories. But the tough tuck is something, Cats. You have to reach out to him and just see if he'll send you one. That's all I can tell you. He probably won't unless you're deserving. That's the whole gig. You're not going to get one unless you're deserving.
So let's talk about some Clash stuff here. People all have favorite go-to strategies. Can you tell me and the listeners a little bit about, what your favorites are, and talk about, what stops people from trying new strategies, do you think?
Well, I got lucky this last war. Been playing around with the super drags. Played around with drag clone. Not great experiences, but I tell you what, I just tripled with hybrid again.
Hey.
And
nice.
That was shocking. It wasn't shocking. I was like, well, I think I can do this, and it worked. And there's tons of clanmates in RedThorn. I will name them as we go on, but hybrid still works, man. Super drags are great. Air's great, but still dig hybrid and drag clone.
JayJay?
For me, like I said, I do the hybrid hogs, miners, whatever. That one works probably the most consistent for me. I triple probably more with that. My dragon attacks have been hit or miss. Couple wars ago, I attacked a higher level 14 and did the 11 zap drag attack, and that actually went really well, and I wrecked him with that. That was pretty fun. So kind of new to me, I guess. I don't normally bring 11 zaps to a war attack, but yeah. Mailman Matt actually is the one that kind of showed me the way with that. He's been killing people with that, and so I kind of copied his attack, and yeah, it worked pretty well.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. So.
Ran, how about you?
Well, since I'm not playing, I can't tell you what I used last. I'd have to actually load the game and go through a whole bunch of updates just to tell you what my last army was.
Well, you probably should re-download the game and log back in and start playing the game.
Well, I'll see if I can try it. I get so many other things kind of that I got to deal with now. That unfortunately, I can't grind it out like I used to. I was talking to Adam Aber not too long ago, and both of us agreed that especially with the loss of global, like you mentioned before, just the game lost quite a bit for me, for him, and we got to talking about how we do miss that social and sort of gratification to meet with your friends aspect that's just sort of missing, that because we're not playing the game, but not being able to devote the time and just basically suffering because you can't. It gets a little depressing, I think.
No, I love you, Ran. I get it, man. The game is very interesting. It's like, as much as Kat and Peter ask about, like, what are you doing? Like, it's difficult at times unless you're the player that plays, devoting 10, 12 hours a day, or at the very least looking at what your clanmates are doing. That's what I have the great ability to watch my clanmates. That's why I did again. I was like, okay. It's working. I was like, I can do a clean wall. This is crazy. Dragon said, yeah. Like I said, Ran, the social aspect still drives it, bud. It really does.
If Queen Walks are actually viable again, because that was one of my strongest abilities, was just to watch her drop crap on the other side of the map. Just here we go.
Oh, you will get super mad at some of my clanmates, like 3 walls, and like, what? No.
Yeah.
I can't cut a funnel with a super goblin. And then Ran would say, "What's a super goblin?" Like that, bro. I know.
Oh, I know Super Goblins. I think that's about where I stopped playing. Was about the Super Goblin era.
I'm teasing.
And Super Valve and stuff like that. See, that was, maybe I will start picking it up and I'll just go with nothing but Super Valves, because that was really my very first successful attack in Town Hall 9. Began the Hogs, began the Dragons. I didn't learn any of that. I just went with Valkyries and kind of made it work.
The next update that's coming down. I'd like to know from each of you what you think Supercell can do to improve the game, to bring people back, keep us playing.
Yeah, Ran, why don't you give us your hard-hitting...
Bring back global. Bring back global. they bring back global, I'm right there. You tell me, and I'm right there. I'm trolling away.
Yep.
I think I credit the Supercell. The game's been going on this long. Obviously the game's pretty good. What I love about the game is it's hard to master. Obviously there's people that can, but it keeps me attracted, and the community for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty unique, like balance how they've managed to. You can have so much control, but then you have to just release it and also just trust on the AI as well at the same time. It's pretty unique in that manner. It always sort of amazes me a little bit because it's like you wish you could control each troop, be like, go to that building instead, and you just have to deal with it, right? Like, so it can be so frustrating and so addicting all in one little package.
Right, like from a game designer aspect, it's a fascinating game. It really is.
Yeah, for me, once I've got an attack figured out and it's actually consistently 3-starring, then they nerf it, and then then it's trying to learn a new attack and trying to that's what keeps me coming back. I guess is that trying to get better and trying to learn something new. And
Yeah, it's a pretty unique game in terms of the strategy involved and the various challenges. The farming that you have to do to max out your base so that you can compete at the various levels, and then there's also the social aspect.
I do have to say they should have done something different than the pet house. I mean, you got this game, you got kings and queens and heroes and all these different crazy, troops. And I got a damn unicorn following my queen around the base and, like a lassie dog jumping over fences and, or over walls. The pet house thing could probably go away, I feel. I mean, I got it all maxed out, but I don't know. And it's the unicorn and a queen walk is actually pretty handy, but I don't know. I hate the names of those. I wish they would just redo them to make them more something, more 18th century something. I don't know.
Not so cute and fluffy.
A robot.
Did they do anything with Builder Base?
Not really.
No.
No, they made an official statement like Builder Base is dead without being dead. They're not getting rid of it, but they are not putting any resources into it.
Well, they can't kill it because then you'd lose that 6th builder and the ability to do something else on your base, I guess.
Well, there's still idiots somewhere that are spending money on Builder Base. Like someone somewhere is, so they're not going to get rid of it.
It's going to be important someday. It's going to be important.
We know Rusty's really attached to that. So
yeah, I love me some Builder Base.
I'm just frowning right now.
All right, guys. I guess that's the end of the show here. We're going to do some shout outs now. JayJay, do you want to go first? Then Ran and Stormy?
Oh my goodness. Well, I would like to shout out everyone at Dark Contingent. I'd like to shout out everyone at RedThorn. Those are the 2 clans that I probably, know the most people in right now that are still playing. I thank you for still playing with me and keeping me motivated in this game. So, not one person in particular, but just probably everybody. Honestly, it's fun to have people that are that actually still care about a game that you've been playing for 10 years or whatever it's been, and playing beside you.
Awesome. Ran, you there?
Oh, sorry. Okay, so I guess since I haven't done it since I did my show, I'll shout out my mom, and Super Mario Lopez, and of course Masudo, Adam, Abear. I mean, these are some of the people that I just still stay in touch with and still become such great friends because of this game. Anybody that's ever been in K2 is still somebody I consider to be a friend, and all the sphere of influence that has touched my life just from being there. Awesome. So yeah, those are mine.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I love you, Ran. We've definitely talked for a long time. JayJay too. Shout out to RedThorn, man. This thing's been around here for a long time. And like JayJay said, I adore the people I play the game with and the people I still learn from. So it's awesome. That's really it. I wouldn't bring out any individuals because if I love you, I love you. So I shout out RedThorn. That's it.
Awesome.
And DC for sure. A lot of good people in there, man.
Thanks.
Rusty, how about you?
I would like to shout out you, Kat, because, like I mentioned off the top of the show here, I've been super busy over the holidays and stuff, and to nobody's surprise, you're always helping out and doing all the heavy lifting around at KGH and all the other clans that you're into as well, I know. So, yeah, I want to shout you out. That's it.
Thank you. Peter?
I'd like to shout out Good Cop, Bad Cop. He is not playing the game right now. He's been back a bit and didn't really enjoy it, but he's working very hard behind the scenes to get us some more cool stuff, some more cool events in the CFF. So shout out to Good Cop, Bad Cop. And then I'd also like to shout out Magnus. He's going to think I got a man crush on him, but I think on December 23rd, he posted what the new wall costs were. And I thought, you know what? I could start a new account. So on December 24th, I started a new account. And I am really enjoying the low levels, right? I just got to Town Hall 7. I can hog now. There's not a lot going on. It's refreshing. I actually enjoy logging in there to see that. So thanks, Mag.
That's awesome. I'm going to thank our guest tonight. Shout you guys out for coming on. I really enjoyed speaking to y'all, and I'm also want to shout out Whip and Jess over at Phoenix Reloaded, just because they run a fun clan there, and I have one of my accounts hanging out over there. So I want to give them a shout out for keeping it fun. So thank you everyone for listening. If you're looking for a great group of clans in either Clash of Clans or Clash Royale, visit the Clash Files Discord to apply. And as always, please send us your comments, ideas, and questions to us on Twitter at KGH Podcast, or you can join the Clash Files Discord at discord.gg/clashfiles.
In the night we were wild, we were golden. Sparks and embers fly wherever we were going. Fire and ice, we built our lives on survival. Getting past the fault lines, we're running, your hand in mine. Freedom, the song we're humming. You can't stop the storm from coming. One look, it all comes rushing. Wolves cry and lightning strikes. Dark sky and thunder rumbling. You can't stop the storm from coming. Holding on to what we built, absolution. East of Eden, running with the wolves to freedom. If you listen, hear the whispers, what the